What's up, everybody? It's Joe Troyer. How you guys doing today? Just got off the very, very interesting webinar we just had. If you're on, let me know in the chat. Man, I am freaking tired. Look at my eyes, man. All bloodshot. Good to see you. Good to see you. What's up, Brian? What's up, George? What's up, John, Karen, Matt, Mike, Philip? Welcome, welcome, Tom. All right. Good stuff. Mike says he's doing good, man. Man, I'm doing fantastic. I am, as always, living my best life, brother. Living my best life. So, got to be honest with you guys. Got to be 100% honest. I'm not prepared for the AMA today. So, been prepping, guys, behind the scenes, quite literally for months, working on the webinar reveal that we just had today. So I literally just got off of it. It was a 2 o'clock webinar, hundreds of people still on, like quite literally just shut it down. Amazing webinar, and I'm so excited, but also just relieved that it's finally out there and I can talk about it and I don't have to like hide it from you guys. So that's out there. So what I'm gonna do today on the AMA is I thought it would be cool. It would be cool to answer some of your guys' questions live, or second game plan. So that's option one, just off the cuff, whatever happens, happens. If we don't have any questions, fuck it, just shut it down. Or option two, I can talk to you guys about kind of keto and my transformation, my fasting, everything else that I did to quite literally go from almost 220 pounds to 170 pounds in all of 6 months. Talk about kind of the mental transformation as well. That would be option number two. So let me know. Option number one, kind of you guys just throw me some shit, and if I don't get much, then we'll shut her down. I'll answer what I got, and then we'll leave it at that. Or option number two, we can kind of talk about my transformation, both physically wise, weight loss wise, health wise, mental wise, kind of my habits and what I'm doing right now to keep my edge. So option number one or option number two. I haven't eaten yet. That's the other thing. I'm still fasting. So let me grab a quick coffee here. All right. So option number one or option number two, let me know in the chat. Okay. All right, so option number one or option number two. Yeah, so my poster back here, walk in yesterday morning, and it's on the ground. So sorry you guys have like this beige, brownish, khaki wall to look at with, these things running down it. 3M, sticker things suck. They obviously didn't hold it. So one or two, one being a bunch of random shit, or two being, again, we'll go in and we'll chat about kind of my transformation. So let me know in the chat, that'd be great. Okay, Mike Lewis, cool. Use both IF blended with low carb to do a keto thing. That's fantastic. Mike Lewis, yeah, I've lost 14 pounds in the last 40 days. Dude, that is fucking inspiring, brother. All right, so we're about 50-50. So we'll do this. Everybody that has a question that they want me to answer, put in the chat. It can be about anything. I'll give you guys 2 minutes to put in the questions. I will answer those questions first, right, to take care of number one, and then we'll take care of number two too, and I'll talk to you about kind of the transformation stuff as well. Sound good? All right, so 2 minutes. It's 5:05 p.m. Eastern. Normally, obviously, we have this call at 3 Eastern, but I had to hold the unveiling webinar with Invisible PPC on our new company, new structure, everything that we're doing. It was just off the chain, so I appreciate you guys staying tuned and jump in on the weekly AMA, even though we had to change the time. Let's see, Brian says, I was amazed when I saw your before and after pictures in the email that you sent out. Man, that was nothing. That was like the PG version, right? That was the version that I was okay broadcasting out to my 40,000 people on the list, right? Yeah. All right, so if you got a question, again, put it in the chat. I'll answer it, and then to cover number one, and then we'll also do number two, and I'll talk about kind of the personal transformation stuff and kind of share what's worked well for me. Okay, so again, you got 1 more minute to ask a question. This is your chance. This is your shot. You're live with me. Probably would have some time too. We don't have that many people on today, which is kind of cool, where I could actually bring some of you guys on. So if you'd like to come on and have a question, right, just say I'd like to come on and then type in your question. And let's see if we can't make that a reality. That'd be fun. If you guys have the balls to do it. Sorry, ladies. If you have the fallopian tubes to do it. That doesn't quite make sense. I'm just joking. So if you want to come on, let me know in the chat. That'd be great. Let's see if you got the nerve. I thought I stunk. All right, let's do it. It is 5:07 as promised, and we're gonna go in the order that we got questions. I'll answer all the questions, and then I'll kind of talk about transformation stuff. Cool. All right, so guys, again, thank you guys for joining me. This is gonna be a little bit of a different AMA. Obviously, I had to push this back, had a 3-hour webinar earlier. My eyes are all bloodshot. I look stoned. Trust me, I'm actually perfectly sober. Just extremely tired after that webinar, but here's the deal. I make the commitment to be with you guys every single Wednesday on these calls, and it's a big deal to me. When I make a commitment, I'm not gonna let you guys down, and I'm not gonna let myself down. So yeah, we had to move the call, but I'm gonna have this call. I don't give a shit how tired I am. I don't care that I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go work out, and I've been at it since, right? It is what it is, and this shit's gonna happen because I made the commitment. And just a little tip there, that's one of the reasons why I've had the success and the transformation that I have lately, because when I make a promise, I fucking hold myself to it. So appreciate you guys joining me today. We're gonna jump right in. So again, I see Mike Lewis says, it'll be cool to talk about keto and weight loss and transformation stuff. I've lost 14 pounds in the last 40 days. John said it would be great to talk about keto. Mike says he's good. Welcome, welcome. Matt, okay. Let's see, I used intermittent fasting blended with low carb / kind of keto thing. Good stuff. I was amazed when I saw your pictures of before and after email you sent out. So when you stick or get stuck on your weight loss, AKA you plateau, what do you do to push forward? Do you move, or do you do more IF or more keto or a blend? So Mike Lewis, that's a great question. So I would consider personally a plateau, 10 days or more where I haven't lost weight. Because at the end of the day, what happens with any weight loss is that you're gonna have like times where you're like speeding and you're dropping weight really fast. Then you're gonna go through times where it's slow. Then you're gonna go through like what Mike just said, like a plateau. And a lot of people get like anxious, or they get scared, or they get worried when they're going through a plateau for like 2 days and they haven't lost any weight. Like obviously you don't have as much weight to lose over time, right? You have less and less. So that's gonna slow. But I've been there, Mike, man. I had a time that for like 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks, I plateaued. So again, if it's not over 10 days, I wouldn't even like think twice about it. If it's over 10 days, right, then I would start to question it. So if it's over 10 days, I would start to question it again. And what I would question it by is the food that I'm eating, right, my intake. So for me personally, for example, I use the Keto app on my phone, to keep track of all my macros. And I don't really use it for any reason particular. It's just the one that I started using. I tried multiple times to make the switch and to use other trackers, and they were just way too fucking complex and convoluted, and it made me not track my food and what I eat, so then I can't track my macros. So for macros, like for keto, people want to be roughly 70 or 75% fat and 20% carbs, right? And then, no, 75, what's the macro breakdown? Man, I haven't talked about this for so long. Macro breakdown for keto, brain fart. There we go. So you want your carbs at 5 to 10%, your protein at 15 to 25%, and then your fat at 70 to 80. So I've played a lot around with my calories. So I go for a week and have, you know, this percentage, 5% carbs, 25% protein, right, and then 70% fat. And then I drop, right, the carbs or the protein, and I'd add more fat to see like what my body does best with. And I can tell you that I feel the best. I have the least urges. I still put on good muscle. I still stay really lean when I'm at like the upper end of the fat threshold. So that means like 80, even up to 85, guys, I've done percent of my calories and food is coming from fat. And then I go crazy, almost carnivore-like, you could say, if you know what keto is, on my carbs. The only carbs that I really get are like trace carbs from vegetables. And I don't eat, I eat a good amount of vegetables, but it's not like every meal. So, Mike, if you're not tracking, track, right? So you're in a stall, it's been 10 days at least, and you don't know what's up, you're getting concerned because you're not losing weight anymore, making you a little anxious, at least start tracking if you aren't already tracking. And what I found is that most of the time it's because my food intake changes, right? I'm used to eating this way and I start to stop tracking so aggressively, and it's like, yeah, it's no problem, it's just one more, you know, bite of this. Then the next day it's 2 more bites, then 3 more bites. And before you know it, right, I'm building up habits that I didn't even really catch that I was building. So track your food. Number 2, if you really need to kick, it, you can definitely do a longer fast. So fasts definitely have helped me. And I'm to the point where I'm still fasted. I woke up at 4:45 this morning. It's 5:13 p.m. Eastern, right? So been fasted the whole day. But I've quite often do extremely long fasts. So typically my eating window is a couple of hours. So I'll eat today at probably 6:15 or 6:30, which effectively means that I'll probably have a 2-hour eating window today. So I fasted for probably today will be 24 hours and then have a 2-hour fasting window. So that's really aggressive. But understand that it's me playing with this, playing with keto and tracking my weight quite literally since like January, right, of 18. So I hope that helps. Play with your fasting, but most of the times you don't really have to worry about the stall. Like it'll pass, and don't really worry about it unless it's been like over 10 days. All right, I missed the earlier webinar. Will you be sending out a recording link out? Brian Yates says, man, I'm sorry about that. Fucking crazy. So this isn't a pitch, but go to, if you guys would, digitaltriggers.io/whitelist. I'm gonna put this email in the chat. So guys, I've been having some email deliverability issues. Brian, you're not the only person that said that they missed out, right, on the earlier webinar. You're not the only person that says that they're just not getting my emails. So what's working so far, at least if you run Gmail, which a lot of people do, is use the URL that I sent you, and I put it in the chat. It should go out to everybody, and that should whitelist my email, and that should make sure that whenever I send you an email, it actually shows up in your primary inbox. So Brian, I'm sorry about that. We don't have a replay yet. We are going to do an encore or 2 tomorrow. If you go look at the webinar, let's see, I can put the webinar registration URL probably in the chat as well. 1 second, guys. Share. Copy registration link. All right, so I'll put that in the link as well. Again, today's not a pitch session. This AMA isn't a pitch session. It's not for that, right? This is all about me bringing value back to you guys. So Brian, I put it in the chat. Anybody else that's interested, URLs in the chat. Let's see, Matt says, been out of the game for a bit, so coming back into lead gen. So I make smart decisions about my education. What are the most up-to-date education training training courses on local lead gen? Also in highly competition niches, in highly populated cities or suburbs. What sources seem to be working? So I've covered this in depth, Matt. But it's okay, I understand you've been kind of out of it. Best pay per call training ever. So go do a Google search for best pay per call training ever, and you'll see a video that I did, Matt, where like, yeah, it's kind of a cocky, funny title. And I'll put this in the chat to everybody, but this is like no holds barred, me like demystifying so many of the myths and bumps and bullshit in the space, and me just talking real and giving the most value that I possibly can about pay-per-call. And dude, it's like 2 hours of like no fluff, no hype, no bullshit. And if you want to specifically go after pay-per-call or lead gen specifically, this is where I would start if I were you. And then Matt, just check out the channel too. I've been putting out like a ridiculous amount of free, no price, content on pay-per-call and lead gen with one simple goal, and that's just to provide more value than anybody else in this space. And people tell me all the time, I'm getting emails in Intercom and my personal email and through social media saying like the content that I'm giving away is better than most of the courses people are buying for $497, $697, $997, whatever. So go consume, man, on the Digital Triggers channel. If I were you, I would definitely join subscribe, join the notification squad so you hit the little bell to make sure you get notices, and then just start combing through the videos. I mean, there is just a abundance of ridiculous content on there for you. So I'd be happy to share that with you live, but in my current state, 3 hours and 20 minutes into webinars for the day, I know that I can't deliver near as good a quality, Matt, as what I put on the channel for you, specifically, again, starting with that best pay-per-call training ever. So I hope that helps, brother. Let's see, John says, I started keto last November at 211 and lost 17 pounds. Now I've stopped losing and gained 6 pounds. Today I weighed 200. I need to lose 20 more, I think. How do I start again? Awesome. Congratulations, first and foremost, John. So you guys are looking at my screen. I should be able to show you. So how would I continue? So start tracking your food, because as I alluded to earlier, probably the issue and why you stopped losing is that you got lazy with your macros. And it's not so much about being lazy, but you just stopped thinking about it. You stopped tracking it, so it's out of sight, out of mind. So at the end of the day, keto is great. And just by switching to keto, a lot of people lose weight. Like, Usman, come here. So for those of you guys that haven't met Usman, this is Usman. Usman's COO now here at Digital Triggers, and he's ran a couple of, well, one AMA webinar, I guess.
One AMA, one failed AMA.
One AMA webinar and one failed AMA webinar when he was trying to conference me in and I was in another country. But so you started doing keto how long ago?
February 12th.
Okay, so would you say besides like changing to eating like keto appropriate foods that like your consumptions changed, like you ate less?
I ate less, I would say, overall.
Why do you think that was?
Because my intake was bigger, like my portions, I would say, were the same. It's just I was eating all fats. Like it wasn't, I was eating rice and bread and all that. It was just, I was eating meat, veggies, and that was it.
Okay.
And cheese.
So you felt more full or satiated with the same size of portions, just without the things that you're not supposed to eat on keto.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think that a lot of people, as they adapt to keto, Stay in frame, you're not done yet. As they adapt to keto, the volume really stays the same for a lot of people, especially at the beginning, because they're just getting used to keto in general. They're getting used to eating more fats, not eating carbs, and they stay satiated, they stay full, they stay kind of happier with the food longer. I think though that what happens long term with a lot of people is that their portion sizes, as they get used to eating a lot of fat, their portion sizes start to grow. So, I mean, it's still like calories in, calories out matter. Like you can't eat like a freaking fat kid and just eat keto and expect not to gain any weight. So I think that you got to start tracking your macros because as you get used to eating fat, like guys, I can eat 85% fat, no problem. I was eating 3,500 calories a day, okay, on 85% fat in a 2-hour eating window. Like try to do that. Like it is absolutely ridiculous. So your body will get used to whatever it is that you're doing. But back to your story. So you started when?
February 12th.
February 12th. So that is 2 months, just over 2 months, 2.5 months?
2.5 months.
And what have your results been like?
I weighed 183 that day, and now I weigh 161, fluctuating to 158 ever so often.
Okay, so a good 20 pounds?
A good 20 pounds gone.
And how do you feel?
I feel a lot better, more energetic, I would say. I'm not as lazy as I used to be. And I also don't drink coffee, so I think that's a big, I don't know, catalyst of mine. I don't need any cheaters or cheat codes to get the energy.
Yep.
Just naturally wake up now. Able to keep up with you in the gym, I think is a big thing. And being able to survive the days of work with you, I guess, it speaks for itself.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you said one thing you said there that I think was interesting is your energy, right? So for me, at the state that I was when I started keto, like I had no energy, right? And so I know that I knew that I had to get my diet in check first, but I didn't understand the importance of that. So I got my diet in check first, and then all of a sudden I started having all this energy. And so in the middle of the afternoon, like 2, 3 o'clock, I'd start getting antsy, like I got to do something. I got too much energy. And that's a great problem to have because it spurred me to get off my butt and started working out, right? Going to the gym, going for walks, going for runs, etc. And so I think that if you can get your diet right, that everything else will kind of follow naturally. So
I agree with that completely. I mean, because of you, I got on keto, and being able to keep up with you is a little tougher. But now I think I'm almost in competition with you.
Almost.
Almost.
All right, man. Any other thoughts for the people interested in keto?
Try it out. I mean, it's not for everybody, but I mean, if you can fit it into your lifestyle and commit to it completely, I think you'll see the benefits right away. And it's up to you to evolve from there.
100%. Yeah. Cool, man. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So like when I started keto, I started a very rudimentary, right? It was just like, you know, is there grains in it, right? And is there sugars in it? Okay, great. I'm doing keto, and I didn't really know, right? But that's okay. Like you take it one step at a time, and you just keep getting better. Okay. So yes, now I do intermittent fasting. I started doing intermittent fasting kind of the traditional way, like a basic, and it worked for me, right? And the longer I did it though, my body started getting used to it. So I kept pushing the envelope, right? Like 16-8 means you don't eat for 16 hours in a day and you have an 8-hour eating window. If you think about it, that's really like a late lunch and just skipping breakfast and eating dinner. And as long as you're not going out drinking all night and having food at 4 o'clock in the morning, you're really at 16-8 probably with just a few slight tweaks. So that worked for me immediately. And then I just started playing with it. I didn't know that you could do more than that really. And so now, like I said, I'm pretty much OMAD. I'd say about 50% of the time right now, which is 1 meal a day. So like today, I'm 1 meal a day. Still drinking coffee, haven't broke my fast yet. I'll break my fast at probably like 6:15 or 6:30. And then I just started incorporating some longer fasts. But again, I just started out easy and started, you know, kind of progressing with it. So now, I think the week before last, I did a 3-day, 72-hour fast. And I felt great day one like normal. Day two, ended day two, I like kind of started feeling like shit. Felt like I had no energy. I was detoxing definitely whatever was bad or left in my system. About 4 o'clock to like 7 or 8 o'clock. There's like a 3 or 4 hour shift that I just kind of felt blah. I felt like I just hit a brick wall. And then I woke up the day of the third day, guys, and it was incredible. Like I had so much mental clarity. I wasn't hungry at all. I had all the energy you could ever ask for. And I woke up at 4:45 and went to the gym. Right? Like, so one of the things that I got to just impress upon you is that so many of our restrictions are just fucking bullshit. They're stories that we tell ourselves and things that people make up in their head. And if you would have told me that I could fast for 72 hours and not eat, I would have been like, dude, I don't know what you're smoking. Like, you are crazy. Like, you're off your rocker. But the fact of the matter is that you can. And there's some great benefits with fasting, both short-term and long-term. And the reason that I fast long-term is autophagy benefits. So autophagy is where your body is able to kill off like kind of old and dead cells and reproduce new ones. So when you fast, you get autophagy benefits. The longer you fast, kind of the more autophagy that you get. But it also helps you spike your growth hormone levels naturally as well, right? So I had a lot of bad habits, obviously, like as you guys saw, like before and after pictures of me. Like I want to do whatever I can to help my body heal. And it's kind of weird, kind of spiritual type of thing too. Like your mind is just so clear. It's really freeing to not have the need and not have the want to eat. Not saying that it's healthy long term to not eat. That's not it. But it is very freeing, and it's just it's a next level of mindset for yourself. And I think that if you can practice self-control and you can control your mind and what you think, that you will be an amazing entrepreneur, you'll be an amazing individual because you can kind of control that narrative in your head. Working out is much like that too. I used to be the person that never wanted to run. I still don't like to run, right? But when I started having all this energy from keto and intermittent fasting, I picked up a Couch to 5K app on my phone. Within days of doing it, a couple days of doing it, I'm like, this is great. I'm like, screw it, I'm not going for 5K, I'm gonna go for a 10K. And I got to the point where I was running a 10K like every day. So it's great. I like running now, but the thing that I understand is I also still hate running. When I get on the treadmill and I'm going, I'm like, this sucks. Like my legs burn. Like I don't want to be running on the treadmill right now. It's a mental game. The whole time your body's saying, no, 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 don't do this, stop, don't do this. And it's a mental game to have that fortitude to keep going and just keep going, right? It's something that I think is hugely valuable in terms of fitness, but also in terms of all the decisions that you're making in your life. I think it's a lot of it just has to do with our mindset. Mike says, thanks for the share on the YouTube video. I will watch and take the next step. Awesome, Matt. If you need anything, man, hit us up. In the comments there, I respond all the time, like every day I hit the YouTube comments. But also in Digital Triggers in the bottom right, it's a little live chat bubble that me and my team are super active on. Let's see, Mike says, okay, I thought I was done, but here's one more. What kind of foods are you eating for all that fat content, especially for 3,500 calories in 2 hours? Yeah, so he says peanut butter and avocados, etc. So got to be careful with peanut butter. I love peanut butter, love it. I have to be careful with it though. Not all carbs, I believe, are created equal, right? Just because it says that there's this many carbs and you're not supposed to have carbs on keto or less than this amount, if I compare that to a different nut, it affects me different. So the more processed the carb is, I feel like the more it affects me. I don't like a lot of the fake sugars, and having a lot of fake sugars, by all means, I'll like have treats and stuff like that with sugar alternatives. But I think that you got to be very careful not to do that often, or you will definitely spike your blood glucose levels. But I guess getting back to how I get the fats, This is one of the ways, F-bombs. So this is salted chocolate macadamia. And I'll do it right now. I'll break my fast right here. These things are really good. So good. Take peanut butter, if you like peanut butter, and like multiply it by 10. Absolutely fantastic. Avocado oil, I really love. I love it better than any of the other oils out there. I have a lot of coconut oil, have a lot of olive oil, but definitely avocado oil is my favorite. I like to put those oils in my coffee as well, very easy to do. I know people are going to say, Joe, does that mean you do bulletproof coffee? To be frank, I really don't much. It's not because I don't like them, but by the time I get home and I break my fast, and having a bulletproof coffee is breaking your fast because of the milk. By the time I get home and I break my fast, I need to not be having any more coffee, right? Like I shouldn't even be having this coffee right now. I'm going to be like on one tonight and not able to sleep. But I do not put cream or butter in my coffee just because of timing. Like if I'm on vacation or something, could I? Yes. If I'm not fasting, I will. It's just not on the regular. I do like F-bombs has nice packages like this that aren't the nut butters, but are MCT oil and different oils. I don't quite literally throw it in my coffee. So I do have some of that oil in the coffee. How else do I get fats? I love macadamias. I love pecans, but again, got to be careful on carbs. I think the easiest thing is just to get your fat in the right kind of levels and proportions and percentages is just to focus on very fatty types of meat, right? So for example, if you buy 80 or if you buy 90-10 meat, it's going to be very hard to get to the macro ratio that you want. If you buy 75-25, it's going to be a whole lot easier, right? So I think just get the fattiest cuts of all the meat that you get, right? All the protein, and that'll go a long way. So recovering from having like 2 chicken breasts, right, and getting your fat content in for the day is very hard without just like guzzling oil, which isn't really the point either. Like you need to be doing it naturally. So I hope that helps, Matt. Another way that I get a lot of calories is just drinking the calories instead of eating. When you're putting in that much food, like your mouth just gets tired. But what I found is, and your stomach is just like, all right, that's enough. Like I'm sick of stuff in my face. But I can make what I call like a fat shake. That is just a shake in the blender, right? That has MCT oil and coconut oil and some nuts in it and some kind of flavoring, right? And some ice. And I can consume a lot of calories that way. And it's very different. I also use these. And again, guys, the reason that, and this is called a keto brick, but basically it's a brick, it's 1,000 calories all by itself. But the reason I'm eating a lot of calories is I was trying to bulk. I got down and I was really, really skinny. And I was just more skinny than I was comfortable with, but I wanted to drop as much fat as possible and have a good frame and a good base to then start adding muscle to. So I'm not at 3,500 calories anymore. It was just for a bulk. It was just to get me another 7-8 pounds of extremely lean mass. And it worked great with keto. It's just hard eating all those calories, obviously. So again, this is the keto brick. This is 1,000 calories. So if you're trying to bulk on keto, this is going to be a big key for you. And another way to get in a lot of calories is with a fat shake. And you can just look them up. But some type of flavor essentially, and a bunch of different oils. You can even throw an avocado in there, and it'll taste great. Well, oh shit, one more. Did your cholesterol shoot way up with all the fat and meat? No, Mike, it didn't. So one of the places that I like to look, a lot of like Facebook groups out there, a lot of different groups out there for keto. One of my favorite places to look has been Reddit, actually. I forget what they call it, a subreddit. There's a subreddit for keto that I follow. It's got like 1.3 million people in it. So I'll paste it in the chat. And Mike, one of the biggest questions that I see in there and that you'll see in there all the time is that very question about cholesterol. And the great thing is because keto is so huge and that's such a frequently asked question, people in there all the time are posting their labs, right? You'll see people saying like, you know, I'm pre-diabetic or I'm on, you know, I am diabetic and these are the medications I'm taking and here are my cholesterol levels and here's where I started and now 90 days in, here's where I'm at. So it's extremely, extremely exciting to see. And Mike, I'm not really concerned about my cholesterol at all. Al says, do you find it necessary to use Pixel Scout if I get on the opportunity with IPPC? So he's talking about the last webinar. Again, Al, I'm happy to answer your question. What I don't want to happen is this AMA to turn into a sales pitch, okay? Because that's just not the channel for this. And I would just want to be very clear about that to everybody and on every webinar. That's not what this is for. This is a no pitch, value add only for you guys. And it's the way that I'm going to deliver more value to you guys in all of 2019 and all of can we say 20 yet? I don't know if I can make that commitment, right? But it's the way that I can add more value than anybody else in the space to you. So I don't like pitching here. I feel it's necessary to keep Pixel Scout if I get the opportunity to go with IPPC and the offer that we presented today, guys, which is just essentially an offer to help you guys sell retargeting right to the world. So the thing that Pixel Scout does is finds you people that aren't dropping pixels in the local business, right? You put in your keywords, your areas, and then obviously you would outreach to then sell them the service that we talked about. So simple breakdown. So Al, if you don't have another prospecting method, then you probably want Pixel Scout. Okay, so I don't think that there's probably anything cheaper than Pixel Scout as a starter tool for you, would be my point of view. Hopefully that helps, man. Perfect, got it. Thanks, you're very welcome, brother. Maybe I shouldn't have asked. No, it's okay, Al. I just like to preface it, right? So in the future, just like send that to me via live chat or something on the site, right? Versus here. I want to make sure that obviously your answers are taken care of and you're taken care of, but just not quite the right place. Al says, understood. Thanks, brother. I appreciate you saying that. What keto monitoring app do you use? Hey, Greg Stillman, good to see you on here, brother. Hope all is well. Man, you've been a customer for so freaking long. So I use, and that's amazing, by the way. I didn't mean to say it in a derogatory sense, man. It's interesting for me to think like how long it's been. That's where my brain went. Like, how many years, Greg, have you been following me? Like, it's just awesome. And I remember your name so vividly. So I just use the Keto Diet app. So it's that blue, looks more like luminescent or something, or more vibrant here, but it's a blue app and it just says keto, right? It's a blue background and it just says keto. I think in the App Store, it's called Keto Diet, but then I think it's just called Keto on Android. But you're looking for a blue background for the icon and it just says keto. Hopefully that helps, brother. What's the difference between IPPC and the PPC Mastermind? All right, so last question here and we're gonna jump off. So again, RB, I don't like taking these questions, right? Like sales questions, right? On these webinars. I know that's weird, I know that's strange, but it's just not the goal, right? If you have a question, we're happy to help. I got a team standing by to help you as well. You just go to digitaltriggers.io at the bottom right, hit the little chat icon and shoot in a message, right? We'll ask for your info so that we can follow up with you, that's it. But I will answer that. So what's the difference between IPPC and the PPC Mastermind? So the PPC Mastermind, so that you know, is short for pay per call, right? So we have a pay per call mastermind. In that, RB, we teach you sales, how to go get pay per call customers, right? We teach you how to approach those people. We teach you tried and true methods that have been tested by literally hundreds and hundreds of people that have gotten results using those methods, okay? For prospecting and sales, and what are you saying? What should your contracts look like, and all that stuff, frontwards to backwards, and that includes fulfillment. So we do fulfillment training inside of the Pay-Per-Call Mastermind. So in there, we have like, here's what you do for SEO, here's what, here's other methods that you can do to drive calls. In there is a connection with IPPC. So in there, we recommend that IPPC does your call-only fulfillment through Google Ads if you choose to run Google Ads as a fulfillment source for pay-per-call. Okay, so there is a little link there. Okay, the difference between what the Pay-Per-Call Mastermind offers and what I talked about today with Rob and the webinar that we had with Invisible PPC and the Omni Vortex is a very different front end offering and what we're fulfilling on. So one is, again, the pay-per-call, and the other one is a retargeting offer as a foot in the door. Okay, they're both great opportunities. I can tell you right now that my focus is 100% on not selling pay-per-call as a foot in the door. Okay, I just think that there's a better way to do it. In the YouTube videos that I've done on the channel, I talk a lot about one of the biggest issues with pay-per-call is the benchmark theory. Okay, there's no benchmark. So you're getting compared when you sell pay-per-call, you're getting compared to how your leads or the calls or leads that you generate for a business compared to their referrals. Like, it's just, they're not apple to apple comparisons. Like, they're not real, but they're justified in the business owner's head. And it can be very hard to unravel them and get them to climb down from the cliff, so to speak. Does that make sense? Give me a 2 if that makes sense to everybody. Joe, the lead quality on these leads, it's not as good as my referrals. Like, I want to answer like, yeah, dude, what the did you expect? It's cold traffic. Like, you're going to have to get them on the phone. They don't know who you are. You're going to have to do a good job closing them and setting an appointment, right? It's not impossible, but of course it's going to be very different, and they're not bad leads. It's just going to be very different than somebody that already knows, likes, and trusts you and is doing business with you. So it's just different. So because of that, I'm not saying that I don't personally in my agencies am not going to offer pay-per-call. I am. What I want though is a big, sexy foot in the door offer to sell to every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the marketplace, and that was the webinar that we had earlier today. Then the ones, right, that are good will ascend through my value ladder. So they'll spend some money on that front end offer we talked about today. They'll spend some more on running their own pay-per-click. They'll have me do even more, spending even more. And then the last upsell that I have is pay-per-call. So I currently, my vision for pay-per-call moving forward is to only sell the best, the cream of the crop customers, pay-per-call. Does that make sense? Give me a 2, RB. That makes sense to you, brother? Could you do it a different way? Yes. You could go sell directly pay-per-call. I teach you how to do that inside the mastermind. It's just not how I'm handling it. I think that there's an advantage to having a big, wide front end, right, that you can sell to everybody. 2, awesome, very clear. All right, so last call for questions. I know I said I was only going to take the questions you typed in. I'll take one more if you guys put it in the next 10, 15 seconds. All right, that is it. Thank you guys so much for joining me for yet another AMA session. I appreciate it. Come back next week with some questions. Bring me a site to audit. Bring me an analytics account to look at. Bring me a Google Ads account. Like, let's roll up our sleeves and let's make a difference in some of your guys' campaigns and clients together, all right? So thank you guys for joining me. As I just get a hair in my mouth, that's really awkward. Have a fantastic, fantastic week. And I will see you guys next week on the AMA. Sayonara. Thanks, Al. Thanks, John.